Welcome to Luke's Lens. Today we're doing a book review. 20 questions I've got. The book we're doing is the manual by Stewart, all about what masculinity is. So let's dive in. I'm going to share these 20 questions. If any of these questions are ones that you want to know more about, I recommend this book. Let's jump into those questions. Question 1, what is masculinity? I'm just going to comment on this first one because I really like what Stewart does at the beginning of the book. He defines some key definitions. He defines masculinity as using power to care for others. And he defines power as the ability to influence. And I like these definitions because he brings it back to what leadership is, what real leadership is. The way he addresses what masculinity is really encouraging. What is the difference between healthy and toxic masculinity? So again, Stewart grabs quite a lot of what is currently being said about masculinity in the media and current views of society, especially some of those that are very attackive around it. And he addresses those and challenges them. What do you believe society's view of masculinity is? What importance does masculinity have in our current culture, if any? What does it mean to man up in our current society? This area I'm going to comment on again. He talks about this initiation of becoming a man and what does that look like for us in our current day and age. I found it encouraging. He put forward several characteristic ideas that challenged me on what I consider a man and where my bar is set at for manning up. What is a Christian man called to do? I forgot to mention, Stewart is a Christian. He's a pastor over on the east coast of Australia. He was inspired to write this book by a question he had from a young man at an event who asked, what does Christian masculinity look like? And he gave an answer which, upon his reflection, he didn't think was adequate enough. And that's what spurred him on to go and write the book, the manual, in an effort to try answer that question better. What is the difference between boys and men? What preconceptions do you hold about life that may not be true? What is the anchor of hope a Christian man has when it comes to hardships of life? What are two important categories or characteristics that we can work on that our future selves can really benefit from? The next 10 questions are all based around a part 2 of the book, where Stewart starts to dive into some of these roles that we have as men and what they look like. So first up, what does it mean to man up as a son? What does it mean to man up as a friend? What changes in life can make growing old challenging and lonely? This question related to what does it mean to man up as a friend. And I was really encouraged by what Stewart shared about the changes that he's experienced in his friendships. And when he reflects back on his friendships and the friendships that he's made and the friendships that he's persevered through, the value that they've brought him and the quality of life he's been able to enjoy as he's grown older and older. What does it mean to man up as a workmate? What does it mean to man up as a single man? What does it mean to man up as a husband? What areas can I improve in my marriage? So for me, this was an area that quite a lot of the ideas Stuart wrote about resonated with, and he shares about the responsibility of spiritual leadership in the house being the husbands. And he shares how he spiritually leads in his house with his wife, which I found really encouraging. And he put it in a very simple way that made it practical and made it easy for me to start practicing that myself with my wife. I also really liked in all these sections that he talks about manning up, but particularly marriage and the 6th one, which is manning up. What does it mean to man up as a father? He has lots of references that he draws from, and also knowing that he's done his research too. He's looked through content to to summarize and be able to share with his audience. What impact does a father's stable presence in a child's life have on them? This was quite interesting. Stewart goes through some of the statistics on the impacts fathers have on their kids. And it's quite interesting. It reminds me of some of the leadership books that I've read, more work-related than home-related, but they carry a very similar theme. One of the books that comes to mind is Trust and Inspire by Stephen Covey, where he says everyone's a leader whether they like it or not, because everyone's influencing someone else whether they like it or not. Question 20, who is the greatest man we can follow? Stewart's book is written interestingly, and I believe he was writing for both a Christian audience, but I think he also wanted to write the book to those who aren't Christian, to be able to witness to them as well, share a bit about what Christians believe or what their Bible says they should believe about masculinity and manhood, but also as a testament to be able to share the gospel message with them. And at the end, he does that. He shares the gospel message with them. So, really good book, really easy read. The start of the book, I was a bit slower at reading, but then once I got to the second half and started hitting some of those practical aspects, didn't take me long. It was a couple of days, couple late nights, and I was able to get through this book. If you are looking at getting it, I would recommend Matthias Media, because if you buy 2 or more, you get 20% off. Pick one up for yourself and a friend, read through it together, discuss it together, challenge one another, see what your highlights were, lowlights were, and be blessed. Next month, I've got a very exciting book, Providence by John Piper. I'm halfway through this book. I have really enjoyed what I've read of this book so far, and it's really helped me in my faith and understanding of God and his providence and sovereignty. And so I'm looking forward to finishing the second half of this book and sharing 20 questions about this book that I believe it has answers towards. So stay tuned, and I'm looking forward to sharing that one with you next month.